Welcome back, homebodies. My name's Amy. Welcome to my channel, Catskill Mountain Homebody. Well, it's been a little while since I made my last video. I've been really busy with schoolwork. But today I thought I'd make a video talking about the Super Bowl football game coming up in a few weeks. And I thought I would tell you a little bit about our tradition and what we do Super Bowl Sunday and my menu preparation. All right, so it's almost February. The Super Bowl is coming up soon. By the way, I have on these metal heart earrings in honor of February coming up. So these are like stainless steel hearts. And I got them in the 90s. And they still look brand new. And they are adorable. And they're very light. So they don't really like weigh down my ear. I don't like heavy earrings. Heavy earrings hurt my ears. I like small earrings. So that's what I'm wearing. I don't know who made these. My house is all decorated for Valentine's Day. I do have a video up on my Valentine's Day decorations, so check that out if you haven't already looked at it. But my house, I have my fireplace all ready for winter and Valentine's Day. I have my white and red candles. My heart. I made that heart canvas. On my table here, I have a couple snowmen, a little trinket dish for Valentine's Day that I put out every year, little love beads. So I'm all ready for Valentine's Day. But let's talk about the Super Bowl. So our tradition that we've done for many, many years is we have appetizer dinner on Super Bowl Sunday. And I don't really like football. I don't watch the game. So what I like to do on Super Bowl Sunday is cook different appetizers for dinner. So I'm pretty much cooking all day, different things. And we just nibble on appetizers all day. So I don't make a dinner. I just make different appetizers as time goes on during the day, while my husband and my son watch the game, or anybody else who's visiting watches the game. But again, because I don't like football, I don't watch the game, and I'd rather do something that I do like, which is cooking and baking. So, in past years, I have made all different types of appetizers for Super Bowl Sunday. I have made wontons. I have made dips. I have made slider burgers. I've made antipasto sandwiches. One year I made Caesar salad, and I put them in little phyllo cups, like little bites of Caesar salad. I've made pot stickers, Chinese pot stickers. The list goes on and on. I've made all kinds of different appetizers for Super Bowl Sunday. This year, I am going to be making 3 things that I've made in the past. So I know these are good recipes because I've made them in past Super Bowl Sundays. So I already wrote out my menu, which I'm going to show you for this Super Bowl Sunday. Now, this particular year, it's just me and Joe. Julius is away at college. Nobody's planning to come over. So I am only making 3 appetizers, which we will have leftovers, and 1 dessert. So I'm not going overboard and cooking all day this Super Bowl because it's just Joe and I. If Julius was here, if somebody else was here, I would make maybe 5 appetizers that we would eat all day, and maybe 2 desserts. But again, if it's just me and Joe, I'm going to make 3 appetizers and a dessert. And not only will that feed Joe and I on Super Bowl Sunday, but there will be leftovers for the next few days for dinner, or for snacking, or whatever. So let me show you my plan. All right, I don't know how well you can see this, but I'm going to read it to you. So if you can't read it, I guess I should have written it in pen. I wrote it in pencil. Super Bowl Sunday menu. I have 3 choices. I have 3 selections of appetizers I'm going to be making on Super Bowl Sunday. The first is a chicken meatball, buffalo style, and I'm going to be making a double batch of that. The second thing I'm making is a Mediterranean layer dip with pita chips. The third thing I'm going to make is an antipasto layered hot sandwich. And then for dessert, I'm going to be making homemade fudgy brownies. So I have already kind of like laid out what we're doing on Super Bowl Sunday. So the Friday before Super Bowl, I need to go shopping. And so I have made a shopping list, which I'm not going to really go into all of this stuff that I need to make these recipes. Honestly, for the fudgy brownies, I don't need to buy anything. I still have a lot of baking supplies left from Christmas baking. So I don't need to buy the flour, the sugar, the cocoa powder, any of that stuff for the homemade brownies. I already have all of those ingredients. But the other things I do need a lot of ingredients for. Okay, so a few of the ingredients that I'm going to be buying for the Super Bowl Sunday appetizer dinner. For the chicken meatballs, I'm going to need to buy ground chicken, some carrots, and some green onions, and some Frank's buffalo sauce. I already have blue cheese dressing, which Joe and I like to put on top of those. And I'm going to buy a bunch of celery to eat with them. Other than that, though, I have pretty much everything I need for the buffalo chicken meatballs. It's the antipasto hot sandwich that I have to buy the most for, because it's like an Italian sandwich, but it's going to be baked hot. So I'm going to need about a 1/4 pound of different Italian deli meats and cheeses. So I'm going to need some thin sliced ham, salami, pepperoni, and thin sliced cheese like mozzarella cheese and provolone. And then I need a jar of roasted red peppers. And I need 2 cans of crescent rolls, because you're going to roll out the crescent rolls flat, layer the sandwich fixings, put another layer of crescent roll on top, bake it, and the cheese and everything melts together, and then you just cut it into little squares. So I have made that before. Of course, I've made the chicken meatballs. I make the chicken meatballs every year because they're a huge hit. So I have to buy some ingredients for those 2 things. And the Mediterranean dip, I do need some fresh vegetables like tomato, cucumber. I'm going to need some feta cheese and a little bit of hummus. And I'm not going to make my own hummus. I use store-bought hummus. So that dip is a lot of vegetables and hummus, and you layer it with the feta, and then you eat it. You can eat it with pita bread. We like to eat it. I'm going to eat it with pita chips. That'll be kind of like the veggie dip on the side of the chicken meatballs and the sandwiches. So that's what I've decided to make for our Super Bowl dinner, Joe and I. And then the brownies are homemade fudgy brownies. So I will make a video on Super Bowl Sunday of me making those recipes. So there will be a video coming after the Super Bowl where you can see me walk you through those recipes. But again, I just start cooking at around 11. I start putting together the appetizers, and then again, and I do them staggered. So I might make the dip first. We'll eat the dip for a little while. Then I'll make the Italian sandwiches. We'll have that. And then a little while later, I'll make some chicken meatballs. And again, there's going to be a lot left over. And in the morning, I'll probably make the brownies because I want them to be cool when we want to eat them later on. So I'm going to get the brownies done in the morning, and then we'll do the appetizers. So again, when we had more people over on Super Bowl Sunday, I would be cooking 4 or 5 recipes plus dessert, and I would be cooking all day. And I would I'd make something, we'd eat it, and then I would go back to the kitchen and make the next recipe. We'd eat it, and then I'd make the next recipe. And again, that's what I like to do on Super Bowl Sunday because I don't really want to watch the game. So I'd rather just be cooking appetizers while my husband and everybody else watches the game. So that's what I like to do on Super Bowl. So that's my plan for Super Bowl Sunday. And again, I will shop for these recipes on Friday and then film on Super Bowl how I make these recipes. But that's our family tradition on Super Bowl Sunday. I thought today we could make together a sour cream banana bread. So that's the plan for baking for today, is a sour cream banana bread recipe. I have 3 large bananas that are overripe. And I usually, when I have overripe bananas, I bake banana bread. or I make banana muffins. Those are the two typical things that I make with overripe bananas. So I really need to do something with those bananas today. It's a weekend, so this is the perfect time to make banana bread, and it will be good all week to snack on or to bring to school for, a little bite to eat or something to eat in the morning for work. So that's my plan for today, is to make a sour cream banana bread. So we're going to go and make that. All right, so before we do that, just a reminder to subscribe to my channel if you enjoy decorating and cooking and baking, or information on the Catskills area of New York where we live. This might be a channel for you, and I'd like to welcome back people who have already subscribed. All right, before we go and start on the banana bread, if any of you have a Super Bowl Sunday tradition that you do with your family, especially if it involves food, put it in the description, because I'm just curious what other people do on Super Bowl Sunday. So put it in the description what you guys do. Do you barbecue on Super Bowl Sunday? Do you make a chili every Super Bowl Sunday? Is that your tradition? Or do you do nothing on Super Bowl Sunday and order pizza? I'm just curious what other people do. What is their, we do appetizer dinner on Super Bowl Sunday, but I was just wondering what other people do on their Super Bowl Sunday. So if you'd like to share, put it in the description. All right, let's go in the kitchen and start working on sour cream banana bread. All right, I've taken everything out I need for this sour cream banana bread recipe. We're going to need 1 teaspoon of vanilla extract, about 1 cup of granulated sugar, a teaspoon of baking soda, about 1/4 teaspoon of ground cinnamon. We need 1/2 cup of vegetable oil and 1/2 cup of sour cream. I've already taken out 2 large eggs at room temperature, so these are already at room temperature. We're going to need a teaspoon of salt, 2.5 cups of all-purpose flour, and I have 4 extra ripe bananas, because the recipe calls for 3 or 4 very ripe bananas. So I am going to be using all of that. I've also taken my loaf pan and I prepared it by greasing it a little bit. And I have set my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. So that's pretty much everything we're going to need for sour cream banana bread recipe. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is mash these bananas up. separate bowl, I have mixed together the cinnamon, salt, baking soda, and flour. And I'm going to gradually add this into my wet mixture. And I'm going to hand mix this. I'm not going to use my KitchenAid mixer for this recipe. I don't want to overmix it. And it's not going to really take that long to mix it together. So let's gradually add the dry ingredients to the wet ingredients. One tip that I want to tell you about baking that I probably have said in other videos, you never ever want to overmix your batter. So you just want to mix it until you don't see any raw flour. But you don't need to mix this for a half an hour. You don't want to have a stiff banana bread. You want it to be moist and soft. So you don't want to overmix the batter. Now that the batter is done, I'm going to transfer it to my prepared baking loaf pan, and then we're going to put this in the oven at 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Well, it's the next day, and my camera malfunctioned, so the last bit of my video yesterday got deleted. So, oh, Chipper wants to say hi. Say hi, Chipper. Say hi, baby. There's Scouty. So anyway, I thought I would show you the bread that we have left. But I wrapped it up in tin foil. This is the banana bread. The day after I've made it. I also took some photographs yesterday of the banana bread. So the banana bread recipe is a hit. It's very, very delicious. If you're looking for a banana bread recipe with some cinnamon and sour cream, that's a good recipe. I will put the recipe in the description. Before I leave, I wanted to show you a quick Goodwill find that I got. All right, the puppies are with me. Before Julius went back to school, we went shopping for a couple things he needed to go back to college. And there's a Goodwill down not too far from where I live that I like to stop in when I'm shopping. And so I asked Julius if he minded we stopped at Goodwill. Of course he said, fine. And we ran in there. It wasn't the most successful Goodwill trip. I didn't find anything vintage, but I did buy one thing. So I'll show you. So I found this owl candle. It still has the candle in it. And it's by Yankee Candle. And it's not vintage. It's probably around 9 years old, maybe 10 years old. Has to be 20 years old to be considered vintage, but I only paid $1.99 for it. And I thought it would be adorable with my fall decor. Plus I love candles. So I am keeping it out on I have a bookshelf here. And so I have little cubbies in this bookshelf that I label, like these are my history books. So I stuck him with my history books. Chipper wants to smell him. But I like this little shelf because I can organize my books into different categories. And we actually bought this bookshelf on, I think, Overstock. And it had to be put together, which, by the way, it took Joe 2 hours to put this together. So it's not for amateurs. I know if I were to try to put this bookshelf together, it would be collapsed on the floor. So I wouldn't recommend getting a bookshelf like this to put together unless you are good at doing that, which I am not. Oh, so thanks for joining me and Shipper today for this video on my plans for Super Bowl Sunday and my banana bread recipe. By the way, I got that recipe from Pinterest, and I will put the recipe in the description below. So I hope that you're enjoying your winter, and I will see you in the next video. See you later.